Hi there, Zach. We're going to walk through your paper together. You're going to be able to follow me because you'll see a yellow circle around the mouse right here, get a sense for where I'm at. Starting here, you go with background. That's fine. The way that you have the paper broken up right here with these bold categories, that's not a problem. In an academic paper, people do this from time to time. It is certainly not something that's necessary, but if you want to include it, I'm not going to dock you points for it. Back in the era, human beings began using simplistic arithmetic, the Sumerian written language. Good. We're starting here the history of this. Come over through. Please make sure that you discuss the Arabic history and mathematics. I mean, the Arabic number system is what we still use to this day, so it's important that we understand the connection there. This is not necessary, right? You are jumping so many years right here and so many different things. Simply moving from the ancient history to modern times, talking about where education originated and then where the laws are today, that would be fine. This sort of middle thing where you do about the American Revolution isn't necessary. Due to this, schools often focus more on teaching content than is on tests than content that's applicable to life. I think this is a pretty good way of framing it. And now to get a sense for where you're going with this paper. Today, mathematics is infamous for its difficulty to grasp. To the point there is almost unanimous despise. Good. Why do we struggle with it? Is this supposed to be a quote right here? Thelma Perso talks about what is the students need to understand mathematics, but then there's no quote. Nice, have this highlighted section right here. I think it's a very good quote. I like where it's at. If it's a quote, please make sure that you format this correctly so I have an idea about what's going on. Then after you give a quote, you need to analyze this and tell me why this is relevant. Then you need to be able to connect it back to your theme. You're not completing the paragraph cycle in this section right here. You should never, almost never, end a paragraph, and certainly not a whole section of a paper with a quote. There needs to be some sort of contextualization so that the reader understands why this was provided to them. Good, I think what you're offering here is fantastic. Now we get this quote from Mark Ellis, which is great. Good, so you're starting to draw a distinction here between the issues of memorization and thinking rationally about problems. I think that's wonderful. How are you going to teach this? Or how should people be teaching thinking then? Okay, this right here, definition of numeracy, I think this is my problem before with the Australian lady. She was talking about the need for numeracy, or you were talking about the need for numeracy, and I didn't know what that term meant. So this sort of a definition needs to be slid several paragraphs back up the paper. Okay, now you're telling me why this happens. It sounds to me like what you're proposing here is that there needs to be a bifurcation. Shoot, sorry about that. Is that there needs to be a bifurcation of the mathematics education system, or the mathematics curriculum, I guess that's the way to phrase it, to the extent that there needs to be mathematics taught at a high level for those people who intend to be physicists and engineers and the like, and there needs to be mathematics taught at a rudimentary level that really focuses on skills and not on the advanced mathematical concepts for people who don't intend to do that. If that's what you're going for, talking about this sort of a bifurcation or division in the mathematics curriculum, please state that, and also let me know how you would implement something like that, or at least a potential for how something like that could be implemented. Good. What do you mean by lackluster in this case, and what's wrong with geometry? Geometry is something that most students usually enjoy, especially lower level students, because it involves shapes. It's a little bit more kinesthetic. Okay, so these solutions, are these your solutions or are they solutions that are being offered up from somebody else? You've got a massive paragraph right here that extends for more than a page that attempts to discuss solutions. Each one of the potential solutions that you're offering needs to be its own paragraph. This is a section, not a paragraph unto itself. So every time that you offer up a solution, please indent and make that a new paragraph. Good. And now this issue of the Singapore math and complicating issues. I think this is actually a wonderful way to talk about this. And looking at MoCo and something that they've tried to put in place before actually strikes me as being a really solid example. It's local. It's something that other people around you are going to know. And it also then feels relevant to the reader. Excellent. And the Singapore math was an extremely popular thing several years back. I suppose in some circles it still is today. So good. I'm glad you're actually bringing this in. As we get down here toward the bottom and you begin to review this, please make sure that you discuss the different styles of teaching that you were promoting here and how those differ from what currently exist. You're calling for a new curriculum, I think is fine, and something that's rooted maybe in the Singapore system or in your own solutions. I'm not really sure if your solutions are related because that's not directly stated right here. But that sort of clarification needs to be taken care of. On the whole, Zach, I think you've got a really good paper here. I like the way that you're going at this. This is a topic that's relevant to you, which I think is wonderful. But you need to just clean some of this up. Where is your solutions coming from? You need to organize that section better. And this question of numeracy and how exactly I should understand it, that needs to be defined better. All right, buddy. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.